Hey Mario, how are you?
I'm doing so well, Bryn. How are you doing?
I'm great. I am so excited to be doing this conversation today. Oops, sorry about Sales Navigator. Making this is what happens when you're live, right?
You're just so
So
excited. You're breaking
I'm just so
things.
excited. Everything. So you absolutely blow my mind with the knowledge of the strategy and the tactics that you have with Sales Navigator that I haven't seen anyone else have. So I'm so excited to have this conversation with you because I use Sales Navigator and obviously I use LinkedIn really well, but I don't think I'm maximizing Sales Navigator. And, so many people are coming to you, clients that have huge teams that they've bought the Sales Navigator, and you are taking them to whole other levels. So I can't thank you enough for coming today and sharing that amazing knowledge with my network and our mutual networks. So excited for this to go. So tell me a little bit about why you love Sales Navigator.
Well, first off, thank you so much, Bryn. As you know, you are definitely one of my mentors that has actually brought me into this space and have been a great friend in helping me get up and running and my own individual practice and business. So anything that you say about me, quite frankly, I feel the same exact way and more because of the things that you've taught me. So thank you. Um,
Um, enjoy working with you very much. So yeah, so why don't you share with the audience a little bit about who you are and why you love Sales Navigator?
Sure, yeah. So background to myself, 18 years of sales and sales leadership experience. Out of those, it's basically 72 quarters. I calculated it out and I was like, oh my gosh, 72 consecutive quarters in sales. That has spanned across software, infrastructure as a service, consulting, telecom, and SaaS. So 5 different segments, everything from public sector to commercial to global accounts. And 3 years ago, I started really looking at it was a little over 3 years ago, how can I start helping my teams and organizations penetrate their accounts quicker, faster, better? And I started looking at social as the avenue to be able to make that happen. And when I did that, I also realized some of the things that were happening in the industry, and that was buyers were looking at us as salespeople before they even engaged with us. So what was the messaging that sent? So I really started understanding that on the social side, and I started looking to players like yourself and others in the industry to figure out how can I go about leveraging this. And one of the tools that came up was the use of Sales Navigator. And so my last organization that I was at the vice president of sales of, it took me about 9 months to be able to get a whole social selling curriculum and program implemented, no, adopted, even to be adopted. And then once we did that, we actually rolled out a tool, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, one of the tools. And I think what's important to understand here is that Sales Navigator as a tool is not social selling, but it is a tool that helps you to be a better social seller. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
So, in answer to your question, that long dissertation about why I love Sales Navigator so much, I'm a big champion and a true proponent of Sales Navigator, and I don't get paid a single dollar whatsoever to say what I just said. And so when we launched Sales Navigator at the last organization, the results speak for themselves. In the first 45 days of launching Sales Navigator, I'm on live video. Hi, wife. That's the benefit of working from home is the wife brings me food and she has no idea I'm doing a live video recording. So that was my wife, Shauna. Everybody can say hello, Shauna.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's see, what was I saying? So when we launched Sales Navigator in the first 45 days, Brent, we had attributed over $1.4 million of annual contract value to the pipeline as a result of launching Sales Navigator. After 6 months, about 6 months, it was attributed almost $4.5 million of closed won as well as open pipeline. And there was a significant chunk, I think it was about $350,000 or more of closed lost opportunity, but nonetheless, like $4+ million worth of annual contract value attributed to social selling. Now, why do I love it so much? The great thing about Sales Navigator, which is different than the LinkedIn Premium or LinkedIn Free, is that people who I truly want to connect with, I can see everything about them and their company and about them in one centralized location, which unfortunately, even if I follow somebody on regular LinkedIn, it's not going to get me the opportunity to be able to see what they're publishing in my newsfeed because there's so much going on in my newsfeed. Does that make sense?
So you're really pinpointing your leads, the people that you want to stay in front of, into one news feed.
Absolutely.
That's great.
And Navigator allows you to slice and dice in several different ways. So if I want to look up a specific company and see all the folks that I've saved inside of Navigator, which is a feature set that I just love. I love that feature set because if I want to take my prospecting as a methodical approach to prospecting, which is, again, think about how as salespeople, we prospect every single day. When we prospect, we're going after a certain segment or target. Well, hopefully you should. Hopefully you've got a strategy for the day.
Right.
And if you're not, that's a different problem. But if you are setting up a strategy, that strategy says either I'm going to go after a specific line of business, or I'm going to go after a specific targeted company, and I'm going to go high and wide or deep and wide. And so Navigator allows me to actually do that, where on LinkedIn, you will get very much regular LinkedIn. You will get lost as a salesperson by going into LinkedIn and seeing so much other stuff that you don't necessarily need. And so that's one great feature that I really love about Sales Navigator, and one of the reasons why I'm a true champion of it.
Well, hopefully in a little while you can show us a little bit of that. That would be great. Before we jump into that, I have really another question. Now that's a feature that I do use, and I don't know that I use it phenomenally well, but I definitely use it and I do engage with people. But share with everybody, when you do find content to engage, maybe we should go live and look at this, but what do you do that not just if you can like something and move on, but how does that convert to business? How does that convert to engagement and conversations?
Yeah, that's a great, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No. So maybe it makes sense to go live now and take a look at your Sales Navigator.
Let's take a look at that, dear. I want to go live and let's go into Sales Navigator. And hopefully right about now, you should be seeing my Sales Navigator screen.
Perfect.
All right. So the good news is right. I'm on the main homepage, and I don't know about you, but I look at this SSI score. I'm working with a particular client, and there's over 1,000 reps that are in this particular Navigator session. And I look at this just like a regular sales rep. I want the sales reps to try to compete against me. On the other hand, though, because I'm a social selling coach, I also recognize that I'm probably doing 25 more things on social selling than some of the other reps are. So SSI, very important. For me personally, and maybe someone like yourself, yeah, we like to have the 99, the 100 score, but 90 is a pretty darn good score right now.
It's pretty awesome, but yeah, I am competitive. And when I see mine drop a point or two, I'm like, gotta get that up. But 90 is phenomenal. Yeah, I would say to everyone out there, there's a good chance you're not going to hit 90. That doesn't mean you're not doing a great job. In fact, Coca Sexton from LinkedIn said, if you're hitting 70, you're doing it right.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And then the activities that you do actually help raise your SSI score. So there's a way to game the system, if you would. But yeah, exactly, right. Let's not talk about gaming the system. Let's talk about doing the right types of behaviors that will hopefully deliver results. So back to your question of, what was the question you asked? How do I turn a conversation into a sale or revenue? Is that what you said?
So first, actually, let's do this in 3 steps. The first thing is, let's show people how you are targeting and saving a lead and account.
Okay.
I'd love to see, once we do that, I'd love to see how you're accessing, because you talked about I can go into an account and see all my saved leads. And then the third piece is, how do you engage in a way that really turns to conversations that has that impact on business versus just liking and sharing.
So best practice. This is what I tell folks to do in terms of logging into LinkedIn Sales Navigator. The main homepage can be slightly noisy because it has everything from every company that you're following and all the individuals. So I like to think of it with Sales Navigator. I like to compartmentalize. That's what I like to do. So one of the first things I do as soon as I get into LinkedIn Sales Navigator is check my SSI score and see how I'm competing against everybody else. By the way, I'm in number 1 or 2.
So the SSI score, you can see everyone that's in your Sales Navigator team.
Well, actually, you'll be able to see, I'm going to click on this right now, and you see actually the leaderboard, and you see the top 5 people. So what you're going to see here is there are, in this particular organization I'm working with, you're going to see these individual leaders within the organization. So just the top 5. And then it tells you as well, different folks, the people on your team, people in your industry, the people in your network, how you are comparing between you and other people. So I think it's valuable. It's a valuable metric. And besides, it's just nothing else. It's competitive opportunity.
And so this is, for you, you're working to grow the team. Right now they're at 56, which is pretty good when you look at people in the industry on average of 17. So you've already obviously had some successes, but this is a great benchmark to watch that number go up as you work with them over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So if you're a sales operations, sales enablement, if you're a sales manager, definitely looking at the SSI and watching how it's going up is going to be of benefit to you. And the thing about this, though, that's important to understand is it's not the end all be all, but it is definitely a metric that you do want to watch, because if most sales reps are not going to go inside there and click here, click that, scroll down here, scroll down there just to get a higher SSI score, because everybody's got to make money and nobody's incentivized by just their base salary, right? So yeah, can you game it? Yes, but most people are not going to do that just because they want to have a vanity score. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
So I'm going to go back here to the home page. I'm sorry, you had a question?
Nope, we're good. This is good.
And so as I mentioned, as I look at this, I particularly don't like this first homepage. Me personally, it's just too noisy. As I scroll down here, I'm looking at stuff that people that I've shared, that I've saved, and then it also has the company stuff inside there, the stuff the company has saved. And so I like to think of it a little differently. I like to compartmentalize. The first thing I do after I check my SSI is I go over to lead shares. And this is important to me. Why? Because the people that I want to connect with, this is the stream that LinkedIn puts it in one format that I can now socially engage with individuals, right? Within lead shares. So I go ahead.
I love that. I don't do this. I just stay on my home page. So this is great.
Yeah, so this is a great way, as you can see, Vincent right here, he's the global head of channel marketing and operations at HP. And what I do is I look at his articles, how influence has changed in the digital age, 4 simple ways to test your business idea before launch. There's some good stuff inside here. And is there anything that I look at these 5 articles, is there anything that I have a particular expertise on that I can actually comment on and provide some sort of valuable insight or commentary back to, and provide any type of links that might be of value, like a web link of some sort, an article, an ebook, a link to the website that I can link back to so that they can see, this will help answer my question, right? Or oftentimes what I found is leaders are saying, I need help with this, and they're waving the flag, right? I need help with this. Does anybody know? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that particular post, and I will look at telling them, hey, go talk to Johnny, go talk to Susie. Because remember, you and I preach this all day long, every day. It's not just about liking. I could simply like this right now, and I'm going to like this comment. And is it going to get noticed? Yeah, maybe. Maybe Vincent might see that. Say that again.
So it'll get you on their radar slightly. They'll get a little notification, Mario liked it, but it doesn't convert to conversations necessarily.
Not necessarily, right? And sometimes it's okay to just like, because you want to be noticed, right? And that's okay. So you're gonna start dripping this in, right? Now, what you don't want to do, what I don't recommend you do, is I go through and I start hitting like on this article, like on this article, like on this article. That's for fun.
I get the notification that one guy likes 73 things.
Exactly. And now it may get you noticed. But Vincent may look at my profile and be like, who's this stalker?
Right. And I think that. I'm like, yeah, 1 or 2 is fine.
Exactly. So, but what's interesting here is what I like to do is I like to go in and I like to open the article and see if there's something that I can glean from it. Now, if you are trying to get down and dirty, quick and fast, I'm going to click on this article, just like you saw me click right there, and it's going to actually pull up the article. Now, to get quick and fast, this is a dirty little sales secret. I don't necessarily recommend it, but when you're looking at content and you're looking to engage, you may not necessarily have a ton of time to read through 150 different pieces of content. So, as with anything, first paragraph of any article and the last paragraph, and read the subheadings, right? First paragraph, last paragraph, read the subheadings. It's a horrible quick trick. Hope you don't mind me saying it, but those are definitely things that you can do. This particular article, I actually would be interested in reading. How influence has changed the digital age. Why? Because you and I are digital sales strategists. So this is important, right? So now I read this article, and I made, as an example, I have not read this, but I'm just going to say, I'm going to copy this right here, this particular statement right here. And I'm going to hit copy on my computer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to Sales Navigator. Now I have two choices, and I want you to pay attention to this tip right here. I have two choices. Tip number one, I can actually click comment. And when I click comment, what's going to happen is LinkedIn Navigator so eloquently and beautifully actually brings up the actual post, and I can actually put my comment inside here. Now, I want you to watch something very carefully. This is very important when looking at Sales Navigator, and hopefully LinkedIn will fix this issue very quickly. I'm going to type in the @ sign so that you can actually tag somebody, @Vincent Brissot. And now notice, Bryn, that nothing is popping up. No name, no nothing, you can't tag. So what I can do is I can always just simply put my comment inside here. And the same thing, Vincent may not see that I may have commented, may not be watching his notifications like you and I do, because that's our business, right?
Right.
Or I can look at how I tag somebody, and then it sends an email notification that Mario Martinez has tagged you or has made a comment on your particular post, because it sends the notification. So that's what I want to do. And so how do you go about doing that? Well, first off, what you have to do is when someone has posted multiple things, you can't click on anywhere here to go get to the regular LinkedIn. So what do? Is I click on Vincent. And when I click on Vincent, this is money right here. It brings up Vincent's profile. And bringing up Vincent's profile, I can actually see the articles that he has published under recent updates or posts. Sorry, not articles, the posts. Now,
oh, this is so smart.
Now,
comment?
Yes. Now watch what happens when I click comment. I click comment, and guess where it takes me to, Bryn?
That's awesome.
So now I'm back on regular LinkedIn, and now I'm going to go here, and I'm going to type my @Vincent Brissot. And guess who pops up, Bryn?
That's great.
So, and now I can go ahead and put something that I taken from the article and make a statement, agree with it, whatever the case might be. And now I'm socially interacting. And this can't be a perfunctory operation, meaning you're going to copy something and put it inside there, say, hey, Vincent, I really liked this statement about blah. You can say that, but give it some context. Give it some oomph. Give it something that you can correlate the two folks together of something that's important to them. He shared it for a reason, and so that's going to allow you to interact. Now, as soon as I hit comment on this, which I'm not because I haven't read the article, and that's not something I want to teach anybody, but as soon as I hit comment, it's going to show up in their notification window up here in the top in their notification as someone has shared a photo or mentioned you right here. Perfect. This is a great one. Michael Wells, on my particular article, he's mentioned me and he's tagged me. And in addition to that, most people have notifications set up, and that person is going to get an email that says Mario Martinez mentioned you.
That's great. I'll tell you a fun thing that I do occasionally is I might, if I get a great article and I even want to share it with someone else, so I want to get on his radar plus somebody else's radar at the same time. I might, if I were commenting, I might say, Vincent, thanks so much for a great article, and mention Mario. This would be something you would really love to read. And all of a sudden, now they're like, wow, they like it so much they shared it with someone else, and it's even at a whole other level.
Absolutely. Well, and not only that, Bryn, but I'm going to delete this out here. Because one of the things that you can do as well, in addition to what you just said by commenting and then tagging, but you could also click this share button right here. You click this share button, and it's going to automatically notify Vincent that I've shared this article into my particular network. And in fact, the post will actually show on regular LinkedIn. Let's just see if it does this. I'm going to click on Michael Wells. This is something that he shared. And yes, so here it goes. So as you're looking at this, Mike Owells took something that I published today, which was this graphic, and Friday Motivation, enough said, don't do normal, my tagline. And what you see is Mike has published it, and who does it show as the original author? Mario Martinez. And that also sends a notification and creates engagement, just like the way you described as well.
That's great.
So
this is great. Okay. Yep, go ahead. Let's go back to Sales Navigator, which you've done, which is great. Thank you.
And by the way, you can also share off of Sales Navigator as well. So essentially, I'm mining my leads right here, right? I'm mining the leads. And this is important to people that I've saved. People, also, there's a great tool inside here that says a new lead option, and I'm looking for something. It's not, maybe I don't have it right here in front of me, but if you go through leads shares, Navigator begins to get smart enough to start seeing, well, who are the people that you care about? Who's the line of business that you're going after? And it starts recommending new leads through this function here under lead shares. And unfortunately, I can't find anything. But nonetheless, you go down, you spend your morning doing this. And the next thing that you can do is you go under account news. And under account news, you can...
Before we jump into account news, under lead shares, I do want to say, even though you didn't see any right now, I think that this is an important point that's going through my head is this isn't only your prospects. Make sure you've saved your clients too, because if it's going to suggest other people inside of an existing client, you might be able to expand inside a company, that it starts shooting out other opportunities inside of an existing client. So I just thought I'd throw that out. It just came to mind.
Absolutely, Brent. Great point. And so here, if you look at some of the things, you can go by client if you had your top accounts based upon the number of people that you save. So let's just pretend that Ring Central is one of my top accounts. When I go into Ring Central, here on the left-hand side under top accounts, you'll see that these are all of the updates that someone from Ring Central, every person at Ring Central has saved. And now I can start mining for who else is being social at Ring Central and start looking at that within a specific account. There's another area here I just want to show you under account shares.
That's really powerful.
And okay, love it. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm looking now. What I did was I went to account shares, and I want to. Let's just pretend you're a global account manager, a global account executive. Let's just pretend you've got a list of 50 or 100 customers that you're going after, or maybe one or two that you're simply focused on. Here's a great way that you go to the company. And now with the company, it provides so much valuable information. And in this company, you can see I have 3 leads saved and obviously the account saved already. And so what you're doing is you're looking at the different lead recommendations that Navigator will give you. It'll serve that up. And also it'll tell you how you're connected. So I have 954 second-degree connections at this particular account, and the account happens to be Polycom. And then within the organization that I'm working in, I have over 1,200 team link connections, meaning that somebody in my organization is connected to over to 1,200 people at Polycom, right? Not someone, all the people combined collectively in the team link.
There are 1,200 connections to someone in your organization.
Correct. Yes, that was a better way to say it. So what it also shows is it shows, as I scroll down, it shows all the different things that Polycom has shared that I can engage on a company level. And it also shows your potential leads right here. Here's a good one. A potential lead has shared this, and you can quickly save it as a lead. And it shows everybody in Polycom that is being social down in this particular feed. And I love it because I can just scroll down and look at the individual account and look at how I can engage with that account with the individuals that are sharing content at, in this case, Polycom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, can I ask you a question? How would you engage on a company level? What would you do with that company information that would be beneficial to the sales process?
Yeah, great point. So for Polycom, as an example, let's just say I was targeting Polycom. A couple things to get noticed by the company itself in their social department is you can tag the company at Polycom. Same problem that I mentioned earlier is when you go to click on comment. Sorry, actually not same problem. When you go to click on comment, it now brings you to the regular LinkedIn, and you can simply click on at Polycom here. And so then it's going to bring up the organization. Hold on. Sorry. You saw that it was bringing up the organization. I can't, my screen won't allow me to scroll down. There it is. And so now I can tag the company Polycom, and that's going to hit the eyeballs of the social media team. That sexy? Nah. If you're selling to the social department or corporate communications, then yeah, I literally have had CEOs that I've engaged with say, who's this Mario Martinez guy? And then the head of corporate communications reaches out to me and says, thanks so much for connecting with me. And furthermore, I literally have the situation right now where an individual at the head of marketing has reached out to me and said, I would love for you to join a webinar with us. We looked at your profile, and I was trying to figure out who's this Mario guy that's engaging with our company, right? Now, is that going to happen? Say it again?
I love that. That's awesome.
And so
I have a question. Go ahead. You finish what you're saying, and then I'll ask my question.
Yeah, I was going to say, for a sales rep, is that going to help you? No, I mean, not necessarily. Not if you're selling to a, not if you don't sell to corporate comp. But here's where you can, as a salesperson, let's just say this was a great article about, some of the power at something that you want to share and you want to congratulate. You can literally hit that share button. And with that share button, you can tag somebody or if to send them. And let's just say I'm going to tag you and you're working at Polycom. And there you are. Now I've tagged you. And I can say super big congrats. Love that, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Right. And so Johnny, who I'm targeting, now sees that I'm engaged with content about his company. And most people are proud to work with the company and they appreciate that.
So I think this is fantastic. So this is an area that I underutilize. So here we have information that the company is sharing, and by commenting and mentioning your lead names inside that company, you can really have an impact on how they perceive you and interacting with them and how they're top of mind. So I'm thinking you can even go in, comment, whether you shared or just tag them in a comment, mention them in a comment. I'm thinking it's really love this article that your company just shared. Not sure if you got to see it, but absolutely fantastic. So it's almost like I read this, it's great. You might have seen it already, but if not, and all of a sudden, I think it's not like you're just sending them your own content, you're sending them their content.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what? That is an unbelievable tip that is worth its weight in gold, man. That is awesome.
Yeah, and most salespeople, sales leaders say to me, Bryn, okay, Mario, that's great. Yeah, really nice that you're able to connect with people and they're going to see you, they're going to notice you, but so what? What is that going to do for me? That doesn't get me excited. And I say, well, it really gets me excited when that individual that I'm targeting looks at my profile. Mm-hmm. And that is money, right? And so the reason why that is money is because if they look at my profile, I know that my profile is a buyer-centric profile. And as a buyer-centric profile, one that builds trust and helps them see value in what I do and how I can help them, now I've created a potentially captive audience. Now, what's key here is I'm looking at selling it to you, Bryn. You look at my profile and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't necessarily need this right now, but I see how he can help me. And also that Mario is engaged with me. Now that they've looked at my profile, not only have they seen me on comment, a notification, not only have they got an email that I commented, right? Not only did they also think that there was something of value, that I was actually taking time to think about their company and how to congratulate or talk about something, or maybe I've shared a link, right, in the company, but they've looked at my profile. Now I have 5 touch points, 5. Mm-hmm. And Bryn, how many touch points does it take to be able to solicit a communication or discuss, or at least some sort of discussion or communication with a prospect? Do you remember what that number looks like?
5? 3 to 5?
6 to 8 on average, 6 to 8 touches, right? So here's the thing. I've now created a ton of engagement with that one person.
Mm-hmm. So I have a 3 touch. I do 3 things, then I reach out. But maybe I just don't have the patience.
Well, it depends too. I mean, some people, if they don't need you, they don't need you. But if you can get them looking in at your profile, and that's where really, there's a whole separate discussion on having a buyer-centric profile. But if you can get them into your profile, and then you can reach out to them within 24 to 48 hours, that's really the time period that I teach and train on. Is someone's looked at you, reach out to them 24 to 48 hours. And you send a connection request potentially to them, or an email asking them if they would welcome you into your network. And in most cases, most IT leaders, business leaders, sales, marketing, whatever the case might be, they will welcome you into the network if you are sending a customized connection, if you've offered something of value, or if that you can offer something of value in the future. And so now that you got them into your network, then starts the additional processes, which is now you're socially engaging them. Now you ask for a meeting after you've built some period of trust with them to be able to work with them. And that's the whole benefit of social engagement, right? Social selling is that, how many times does it take to pick up the phone call and call them? There's less than 3% or 2% response rate to cold calls today, right? Out of all the folks that are getting cold calls, 90% of them say they don't respond to cold outreach. But if you can get this engagement going this way, and maybe calling and maybe emailing over a period of time, then you might be able to get noticed.
That's fantastic. And I think you've really given some powerful tips on how to totally leverage Sales Navigator in a way that LinkedIn, it's really difficult to do on LinkedIn Basic and LinkedIn Premium. I mean, this really allows us to target in. One of the things you mentioned, and so I just want to kind of add to this and hear your side of this, is, once you connect, you said something that was so important, is now you've got to get that to a phone call. So one of the things I always recommend is make sure you have welcome notes that are ready, and you can semi-customize them, but have them ready. And it could be anything like, happy to be connected here on LinkedIn. Often I like to have a brief conversation with my new connections so we can explore ways we might be able to help each other out now or in the future. You and I have calendar links, so here's a link to my calendar. At your convenience, please pick a time that's best for you, so that you're converting at that time. Now, you may want to go even more specific. I mean, that was a very general thing. And I will say, even in my note, and if you're interested, I'm happy to share some insights on how to leverage LinkedIn social selling to grow your pipeline, or something along those lines. So whatever it is that you do, you want to offer, let's have a phone call and I'll provide insights. Even if we don't work together, I'm going to give you some great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a methodology that I do. It's a 2-message rule, and it basically, I think I stole it from you. So, but the first message, and I think this is important too. When you connect with somebody, I think salespeople have forgotten, especially as some of the newer generations have come in. Everything's so data centric, so mobile centric, and they want to do everything over texting or email or whatever the case might be. And so, I wrote an article that was the most hilarious and surprisingly shocking conversation about my son. And it was, Dad, I thought you said LinkedIn helps you make money. I had no idea that this was ever going to come up, but it's been a wonderful piece because it was a very personal article, and it was about me, and it was about LinkedIn, and it really tied in well. And so what I encourage a lot of sales folks to do is when you've connected with somebody, take the opportunity to thank them, and then say, as an introduction to me and personally, on a personal level, I think you might enjoy this particular article. And it's a great way. People are like, oh, your son is cute. That was a great conversation, right? And then you allow them. I'm sorry, go ahead, dear.
Rapport building. It's a great way for them to get to know you.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's instead of saying I'd like to have a meeting right out of the first, after first connection, and then after a couple of weeks, they've seen content, they've seen information. I now put them into my Navigator as a lead, and I now watch them, and I now give them links. I now give them data. I now send them ebooks of things that might be of importance to them. Then after a couple of weeks, I say, hey, one of the things I forgot to do is ask you to spend some time figuring out what you do and what I do so that we maybe potentially can help each other in the future. And I basically used a lot of the messaging that you just said a couple seconds ago.
That's great. So I think a big takeaway here is you need to have a plan in place, and you need to have a cadence. You need to know what it is that you're doing and how often you're doing that and what your messaging is. But once you've got that, it seems like Sales Navigator is really an incredible tool. So in closing, I'm just going to ask two things from you, Mario. The first one is, what is the first step that someone should take? And the second thing is, who do you work with and how can they get in touch with you?
The first step that people should take you're saying first step in what, learning how to do social selling?
Yes.
The first step that people should take is contact someone like you or me. that is the first step that people need to take because, look, it took me, you've been at this for a long time. It took me a little over 3 years to become, one of the top industry experts. Can you impact sales that way? Sure, you absolutely can. Can you still have a successful track record? Yeah. So can you DIY, do it yourself? Sure. Or you can lower your cost of entry or your barrier to entry by talking to a sales coach like yourself or myself and actually spending some time understanding first, what does my brand say about me? What do people think when they hit my profile and or see me or think about me or Google me? And that's the most important thing is, do I have a buyer-centric profile? And then what was the second question again?
So how can who do you work with and how can they reach you?
Oh, great question. So for me personally, I work with corporations. I also work with individuals. I do private coaching and small business owners. So if you are looking at how to leverage social networks, any of those three categories I just mentioned, how to leverage social networks to drive revenue, period. Mm-hmm. You should reach out. You could certainly reach out to me or my very good friend Bryn, who's just as amazing, if not more amazing. But reach out to me. You can. Oh, please stop! Really? Stop. Yeah. Here's my hands. Please, no more. Yeah. No. So you can reach out to us, and for me personally, you can reach me at mario@m3jr.com, mario@m3junior.com. You could also find my cell phone number. I encourage you to figure out a way to call me or go to my LinkedIn profile and book a meeting with me.
All right. That's great. So you'll have a conversation with someone if they have questions?
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's great. Well, Mario, this was so much fun. I can't believe the value that everyone's going to get from this. Well, I can believe. That's why we did this. But it was such incredible information. And, if people just invest a little time in doing this, there is huge ROI.
Yeah, there really is. And it builds relationships, right? I mean, it's not just to click like and comment just so that you can talk to somebody. I've built a lot of relationships and friendships.
That's great. Including ours.
Including ours, my dear.
Thanks, Mario. Great to have you.
Thanks for having me. Talk to you later.